Hey, it's Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
If you're watching Facebook Live, YouTube Live, you'll see Pastor Tony Valdes there. BChurchConference.com is something we're going to talk about. It's the conference that's coming up February the 19th. Pastor, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me, guys.
It's good to have you. I actually saw the, and I'm not sure where I saw it. It might have been the Facebook, but I saw about the conference and I thought, man, it would be so cool to talk to somebody there. And then as I looked at the names, Mike Lynch, Pastor Lynch, we've had on many times. Rachel Faulkner Brown, we've had on many times. And we're just really thrilled to have you on there. So let's talk about the conference. You guys are a part of empowering churches to continue to affect the communities. And it's taken on a new, what would you say, a new way to affect communities now, I guess. What are you going to talk about at the conference? Let's talk about it.
Well, first of all, to put a conference of this magnitude together in a pandemic, it's got to be a God thing, number one. Because believe me, there were many times that I questioned, okay, should we even go on with this? And just door after door kept opening. And I just knew that the Lord was really doing a wonderful thing. Pastoring a church for 8.5 years, as I did in South Florida, I can tell you that many times we got caught up in just our four walls. There were so many amazing organizations in our community, and we just get caught up in doing Sunday to Sunday that we really forget sometimes to go and do what the scriptures teach the church to do, and that is to get engaged in their communities while sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ and really being light into a dark world. So in essence, the backbone of this event is really about just getting the church out of their comfort zones and getting them plugged in to their communities. It's also a great event for pastors to attend because you get to learn of the amazing organizations in your backyard where perhaps you can bring them to your church and say, hey, we'd like to partner with you guys. And how could we do that? And so these events are designed just solely for folks to get engaged in their communities and just being a part of what the church is called to do, and bringing awareness of the amazing organizations in each city that we're taking this to, and hopefully getting people plugged in.
You talked about the timing of getting this all started, of course, with COVID being here almost a year now. I'm sure it's changed a little bit how you've had to do things. Talk about how that's made you adjust.
Yeah. So definitely a roller coaster there, Dan. And I can tell you that we originally had the B Church Conference scheduled for Greensboro, April of 2019.
Wow.
And when the pandemic hit, and it really hit hard in March and April, obviously we had to postpone it twice, and we moved it to April of this year, 29 and 30. And then God was gracious enough to open up Atlanta and Chicago. To plan an event, we like to use at least a model of minimum of 9 months. We've got to get sponsors lined up, the speakers, the worship, the venue. And then, of course, we have to get the organizations to say, yeah, we're in. We'd love to be a part of it. So that's really like a 9-month process. So while we were at home, pretty much, everything was virtual. It actually gave me some time to plan more than just one city. And so we were grateful, even though it was something horrific that continues to just be something, a damper on the world per se. We really said, okay, how can we turn this for the glory of God into good? And God opened up these other cities, so we were able to adjust quite nicely.
Pastor Tony Valdes, B Church Conference. You can go to bchurchconference.com. Tony, it sounds like this is a passion of yours, something that you did while you're in Miami, probably even before you became a pastor. It just comes out of your soul. A lot of times the pastors are ready to go, and I guess they'll learn how to not only do it themselves, but to motivate their flock, their parishioners, if you will. What's one of the main things you want them to get out of it after they've attended on the 19th?
Great question. Thank you for asking, Rick. I turn to a story in the Gospels, if I may, with the story of Mary and Martha. They're serving. And I can tell you that when I got into ministry, it was all Martha. It was serving. It was nonstop serving. And you go Sunday to Sunday that way. I disobeyed the scriptures, and I didn't really take even sabbaticals. I was getting my theology degree. I was working full time, running a startup church from the ground up, doing Bible studies midweek. I did that 44 to 46 Sundays a year, and I was all Martha. Until God finally slowed me down and said, okay, there's a part of that story that you've got to be a Mary, and you've got to be quiet at his feet and spend time at his feet. And I believe that in many times we get caught up in either all Mary or all Martha. We're either only interested in opening up our Bibles, worshiping, and being alone to ourselves, which is huge. And then there's some in the church that are just interested in serving Sunday to Sunday and never spend time at his feet. And I believe the balance of scriptures teaches us both, that we are to spend time at his feet and we are to spend time in our communities sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ. Romans tells us if there wasn't for someone preaching, how would they know? So we have to do our part, and we have to tell people about the Lord. So the B Church Conference is not just, believe it or not just about getting plugged in and serving, which is essential. There's also going to be times and messages designed to say, how am I doing internally? How is my relationship with God? Am I really reading the word? Am I really spending quiet time with him? So it is both an external factor, but first it must be an internal factor. And so we encourage folks to say, yeah, before you serve, just make sure your heart is right. Make sure that you're in right tune with God. Make sure you're spending quality time with God. So that then will just stir up an incredible passion and love for the Lord to talk to others about him, which will then get you plugged into your community, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. And I love just the subtle difference of be church as opposed to do church or go to church. Talk about how that came about and just those subtle differences of it's more than just going to church or doing church.
Well, my wife is here, but she's not in the room. But I remember when it came up and I felt the name for B Church, she kind of looked at me and saying, B Church, what about be the church or be, so, and I said, no, I just gonna keep it simple, just be church. And then I guess you start to think about it, and really we all know that we've been preached many times that church is not a building, it's a living organism, it's a representation of Jesus Christ here on earth. And I just felt that the model of church today, what it looks like many times is not even what the Bible talks about, or talks about at least us doing. And so we're called out. Paul tells us we are the called out. We're the chosen one. We're the ones that are representations of Jesus Christ. And we are his church, and he's still building it. Thank God he's building it. If we were building it, we wouldn't be doing a pretty good job at it. So he's building it, and I'm glad for that, and I'm grateful for that. God, what could I do here on earth to continue to expand your kingdom? And so, this pandemic, guys, you have to agree, it's really changed the way church has just been labeled. I mean, I can imagine how many pastors are hurting right now because it took them by surprise. Maybe they didn't have an online component. Maybe they didn't have ways to connect virtually. But maybe this has helped them to reach a world that they never reached before. It truly has changed from just having people come into a room, sitting in a room, listening for an hour, hour and a half, and then going home, which is also very biblical, by the way. But there is a different element to the church. The church never stops on Sunday. The church is constant. It's 24/7. And I pray that these conferences will stir a spark in folks that say, yeah, I want to do more than just attend on Sunday. I want to be the church.
BChurchConference.com is the place to go to, Pastor Tony Valdes. And it's going to be at North Star Church. Pastor Mike Lynch is also going to be there. Rachel Faulkner Brown, Chris Hodges is going to be there, and some great worship as well. What was it that drew you to invite these particular speakers, or how did you connect with them? What was it about them?
Well, I'm going to be honest, and then I'm going to give you the old spiritual talk, which is going to sound good. All right. The spiritual talk is that to be honest with you, I really prayed and say, God, open up doors for folks that have a heart and a vision that match to our vision. All right. I got turned down by a lot of folks, and not because they didn't want to attend, but because the uncertainty of traveling now and coming and so forth, and timing and scheduling. But a lot of times I was just so humbled and surprised that the speakers that you see there and in Greensboro, Dr. Gary Chapman, author of the 5 Love Languages, he'll be speaking in Greensboro. Chicago, we got Kim Walker-Smith from Jesus Culture and Darryl Strawberry, ex-Major League ball player. I mean, one after the other. We've got folks that are lined up who saw the vision and believed in it. And so it was 2-part, Rick. It was prayer, and then it was like, dear God, please help them say yes. Because, I mean, I want to be honest. I mean, we're a first-time event, and who are we? Who's this guy reaching out to me, putting and planning a conference together in a pandemic? And so I'm moving by faith, and it was really twofold. God, I'm going to reach out to X amount of speakers today. I'm trusting that you'll give me a handful so we can get it going.
Now this conference is the 19th here in Atlanta. Now, are you going to stream the other ones for those that aren't able to make the Greensboro? And
yeah, we're going to try to get the streaming services for Greensboro and Chicago. Atlanta's just right now only in person. We're capping it at 200. And let me just say this about Pastor Mike Lynch. The folks at North Star have been a blessing. They have been really so helpful. Volunteers. Mike is just a wonderful guy. I've never met him. I can't wait to meet him. I've heard nothing but amazing things about him and his team. And I can tell you, virtually, and the process over the last 8-9 months, they have been nothing but spectacular. And I'm grateful so much that they opened up their doors to host this event. And this one-day conference, you're looking at 7 speakers, worship, and 20 plus organizations are going to be there. And I'm praying that if you've got the time to set aside on next Friday, that you'll make it, and we'd love to have you.
Check it out. You can go to bechurchconference.com. Pastor Tony Valdes. Tony, what a blessing to talk to you. We appreciate your time. Would love to catch up with you sometime around spring, and we'll do a post of how it went in Atlanta and what you're looking forward to for the rest of 2021.
Absolutely. It's the amazing job that you do.
Check it out. Again, it's bechurchconference.com. We got to take a break. We'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.